What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a kind of a raw video, uncut, like most of my videos are, because I can't really edit anyway, but hopefully the wind noise isn't too loud. But I just want to get this point across is, when it comes to trading and it comes to life, like if you break down the cost, you have no choice now but to basically work for yourself. And I think trading is the best model to actually achieve it. Reason being, for you to be able to trade, the barrier to entry is really low. That's a good thing, that's a bad thing. So, you know, it doesn't matter what race you are, what school you went to, what parents you got, what background you've got. The markets don't care. Like, anyone can play, it's fair game. That's good in some ways, bad in others. So it can take advantage of people who are unprepared, but people who actually understand the game are fully prepared of what they're getting themselves into and can potentially, you know, change their lives with it. And I think it's very doable, because if you think for the cost of living now, so for me, for anyone to buy a house, let's just say you're on the average salary. Average salary is what? Average salary is 30k. Well, if you look at the average house, it's roughly going to be 300k. So I was going to give you the example, as there's a house near me that's going for, well, it's a new build, so it's not great quality. You know how notorious they are, right? This is going to be trading related, so stay tuned for this, right? It's going to be trading related. So it's 250k for a new build, right? It's just a 2-bed, small, no off-road parking, nothing, tiny. I don't know if that comes with a garden, to be honest, barely qualifies. But, you know, basically, you guys know, especially from the UK, what 250k buys you nowadays, especially in the south, right? Cheapest one you could get. So if you're on the average salary and this 250 grand house, which is 50 grand below average price, right? And you make 30 grand a year, and let's say your credit score is amazing and you can borrow 5 times, right? So you're borrowing the max that they allow you to borrow. Well, if you're on 30 grand a year, 5 times that's 1,150 grand. So you need to come up with £100,000 deposit yourself to buy a house that's 50 grand below average house price. So how the hell are you going to do that in today's age? So, like, obviously career isn't the way to go unless you go for like a lawyer or a doctor or finance. But then if you are, then you're probably gonna have to live in London. The cost of living in London is extortionate. The rent that you pay just to have the privilege of being in London, to earn the giant wages, are extortionate. So you already need to earn at least 60 grand a year in London to feel like maybe 25, 30 grand a year outside London. Right, so even then, you're no better off unless you're at the top of the top of the top of the 1% earners in London. So how I see it is, if you go trading, yes, it's a really hard skill to learn, but yes, the barrier to entry is really low. Like, if you want to have a degree, it's going to cost you like 50k in 4 years. Well, if you're smart with trading, it shouldn't cost you more than 50k. I know there are some people that have had challenges and they spent 6 figures on challenges and haven't had a single payout. That is really bad and isn't the right way to go about things. Definitely don't do that. Like, how I recommend you doing it is do the free trials, pass the free trials, and then if you can pass free trials consistently, then take the cheaper challenges like the 10ks or the 25ks for a couple $100, if not less, with discount codes. And then when you pass that, use those payouts to fund the 100ks and 200ks and the 400ks. So you can do it smartly, you just need to be patient. And I tell my students all the time, teach or treat trading like a degree, but without the huge cost and the debt afterwards, if you play it correctly and play it smartly, and you get the right mentor at the right time if you're trading. Like, sometimes it's too late for people. Like for me, I already spent 6k learning the wrong way, and then I started all over again learning the right way. But if you see how life is playing out now, the cost of living crisis, everyone's moaning, the wages are going to be so low. So if you're going to be a first-time buyer in your 20s, right, like it was back in the day, like our parents' age, because I'm 30 this year. Well, if a first-time buyer back then was in their 20s, and then most of them don't even pay their mortgage off until 65, 70 now. So if the average first-time buyers now are mid-30s to late 30s, how are you going to pay off your mortgage until you're like 75, 80? The only way you're going to do it is, one, the banks charge you more per month, which you can't do because you don't earn enough in the money, so you can't afford to live now, let alone paying more per month off to get their money back off their investment. Or when you do retire, if you're lucky enough to retire, you don't work till you die, where most people are going to die anyway, you're going to have to give away equity to your house, and then you never own it anyway because you never pay it off, so you're basically renting. So the only way out of this situation is to make money. And I think the best way for someone who's young or even old, doesn't matter, who can actually make good money is through trading. So I kind of you have no choice now. The career route, I think, for 90% of people is dead. You can go to uni, you can try and go in London and you try and get a finance job working in a bank and try and go for those like big bonuses jobs. But again, everyone's doing that, so the likelihood of you doing that is very slim. And again, you have to live in London for even to have those opportunities, because they're not going to be anywhere else unless you want to go to New York and go to a different country. But again, if you do make a lot of money in America and you become a US citizen, you can't avoid their taxes either. Lucky in the UK, we can go to Dubai if we wanted to, we've got that situation, and avoid paying the tax, because you can go on their tax code and not your country's. But the US, they don't have that luxury. They have to pay 50% tax. So what I'm saying is, guys, I feel like trading is the best way to do it. It just needs to be managed correctly. Yes, I know the prop firm industry at the moment is kind of messed up and fucked, but all this is doing is just weeding out the cowboys in the industry and leaving the good ones left. I feel like overall it's a plus and positive for the industry. And yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you agree with what I'm saying. But I still seriously believe that trading is the only way to potentially be financially free for not much upfront cost if you do it right. And another thing with these prop firm guys, like, don't forget, like, you don't need, I know you see people with these huge payouts and these huge percentages and the top of the leaderboards and stuff. Like, you don't need to do that. You do not need to try and go for like massive 10% months. Like, you can, like, if you're on 30 grand a year, that means you take home after tax and national insurance roughly £2,000 a month. Well, for you to double your salary and be on 4,000 a month, right, you just need to make 2% on 100k, right, or 1% on a 400k. Like, and you're saying, well, it's going to cost you roughly 2,000 to get that account. But when you start off from the baby ones and then you use the baby payouts to buy the other payouts, and then when you do have a payout on it, it doesn't have to be huge. Like, there's no like, oh, you have to make 10% before you take your first payout. Like, you can just do a 0.5% payout, get your refund, and now that account's risk free. So now you've got an account where you can have your little cash cow, take a little bits out here and there if you're safe, and you have an actual strategy and a plan and a system and all that, which you should have in place before you even do these prop firms. I'm just going to assume you do, right? Well, now you make 1% a month. You're on let's say I'll just keep to 100 grand because it's $500. It's affordable for most people, right? You make your 2% in a month, all right? That's 2,000. You keep 1,600 of it, all right? So now you got 3,600 coming in a month. Well, what do you think that's going to do? You're never going to get that as a bonus in a normal job in your normal career. You have to suck so much, you know what, in an office, go through that BS politics just to progress to maybe get a promotion after the years and years and years of like sacrificing everything when they treat you like crap. And then when they go to sell, they don't care anyway, do they? Like, think about what happened over COVID, guys. This is a big waker up to me. They need you. They say, oh, you're really important. We need you to do this, please do all the overtime in the world. And then COVID comes along and then you're the first person to get furloughed. It's like, I wasn't that important then, was I? Because why not just get rid of me, get the payroll, and get the government to pay 80% of my wages? Like, think about it. Just think about it like that, guys. Like, you do not need to make huge percentages a month on these prop firms to change your life. Like, you don't even have to like make 6 figures a year. But if you want to double your salary, it's 10 times easier to do that with trading, other than trying to like work your way up the corporate ladder in a job where most people, let's be honest, they're on 30k a year. There isn't like the banking system where you work your way up and now you got an extra 100 grand a year. That's not the case for most people. The most case for most people is, oh, you do really well. Okay, well, inflation's 10%. We'll give you 2% extra this year. Great, thanks. I'm taking an 8% pay cut this year. And I'm going to be grateful for that. Cheers, then. Like, our generation of what our parents had in the boomer times, like, that's never, ever, ever going to happen to us. But yeah, just think about it, guys.